Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura. We have a good one for you today. Obviously, I think we're all excited. This week is the week, as the season, the MLS kicks off once again for the 2025 year. So I think we're all really excited, looking forward to it. And we'll chit-chat a little bit more between myself, Cristian Putalias. Brother, how you been? How you doing?
Good, man. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm ready. Game time is here, man. It feels like it's been forever, but we have a game this weekend, bro. Literally in a few days, there's a whole game.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's exciting. I mean, like you said, it just feels like it's forever. It really, once you look at it in the calendar, it wasn't that long. And obviously, we've been able to be around the stadium this past week, so it just feels you even more as the excitement, starts to brew around the entire city. So, I know it looks like they're talking to you again. We do have one more person to introduce, which is Edson. Edson should be here soon. He's running a little bit of an errand, it seems like. But how you been, man? How's the week so far since we last saw you, dude?
Good, man. Yeah, good. It's just been busy, with work and holidays or Valentine's and this and that, and just honestly, it's been a really, really busy week for me personally. But I think now, I literally just bringing in games, you would think it would make it even busier, but it actually, for me, I just like having games. So just having games and being able to go to the stadium and stuff like that, it makes it a lot. It's busier for sure, but it also makes it cooler because at least there's something to kind of do, even though I've been doing a lot of stuff. So Thursday we had the jersey stuff that we'll talk about later. Friday was Valentine's, so work was crazy. Then Saturdays I did Vote League games, and then Sunday I had inventory at work, so I was at work at 5:00, and then I didn't leave till 11:00 at night. It was just everywhere, right? But I'm excited, honestly. Just looking forward to the weekend. Like the song says.
Obviously today is President's Day after all, so it's a holiday in general. Holiday. My kids were off today, but I was gonna ask you, what about Valentine's? Do you think that's a legit holiday? Do you consider it a legit holiday, man? Do you have to get something for your wife? Like,
I think you have to. You have to at least like something. So my wife, she's not the flower type, so she's like, oh, don't give me flowers or whatever. But I always get her like the chocolate covered strawberries. So because I know she's gonna eat that. So, but like if you show up empty-handed, I think is one of those things like, oh, you love me, but I guess not that much. Yeah, it just feels like that. But it's one of those very to the girl holidays. Like you have to give something as a guy. If you don't get anything back, it's like, it's all right. It's expected.
It cracks me up, man, because for whenever I got married, my wife was like, my forever Valentine. So I was like, I'm good, like
right?
what I ever to do. And I've always made sure to get her something. And somewhere along the way, it kind of went away, if that makes sense. For me at least. And but this year being like we're gonna be married 10 years, she kept telling me like, hey, where's my Valentine? Have you asked me to be your Valentine's? Like, what are you getting me for Valentine's?
Literally, the same thing happened to me. I don't know if whoever follows me on my Instagram, there's the handle right there. But literally, my wife, she was like, "You didn't ask me to be your Valentine's this. Hold on, baby. You didn't ask me to be your Valentine's this week." And I was like, do I have to? We're literally turning 10 years of marriage this week. Like, I don't think I have to. And then she was like, well, you didn't even post a picture of me. And I was like, all right, well.
No, it cracks me up too. As we kind of close it down, trying to make some time for Edson to get in here before we hit the topics. But no, who's back there, man? Wave to the crowd.
Bro, go to bed. This girl, look at this girl. Okay, say bye, everybody, and then go to bed. Come on. Okay, she's not gonna go.
It's fine.
What do you need?
I can't
Okay, close your eyes and you're gonna go to sleep. Okay, go. Okay, San no, All right,
What's
I'm
it
too
called?
loud. Okay.
No, my wife is one of those too that she'll be like, I think it was last week, not this weekend, because we're out of the 956. We were close to that this week, but last Saturday she went out with my daughter
Yeah.
and was like, "Hey, I'll be back. I'm gonna go get my balance." What's the point? Getting her something. So not, why would I think of like, oh, let me get something else because she's not gonna want what I want since
Yeah.
she just got her a gift. But
Like,
Edson, good to see you back, man. I'm gonna throw you in here.
yeah, throw
Hopefully,
Exon in and I'll get out for a minute.
all right, I'm gonna drop Chris for a bit as he has daddy duties, man. But no, we're just commenting. I don't know if you heard us as you walked around, but just talking about Valentine's being a holiday or not, man. But yeah, Edson, I was down in the valley, did not get to see you. Didn't hit you up. I got kind of busy with the family we're with, but dude, I don't know if you had gone to those tacos I shared with you. Annalise Taqueria, they're supposed to have won some like crazy awards for like best tacos in Texas, and they did not disappoint, man. I think you should try to go and check them out if you haven't already, Edson. Oh, Edson, you're muted.
Where was it exactly? Because this is the first time I've heard of them.
They're in Mission, Texas. I cannot tell you. Let me see. I can look it up real fast, but yeah, they were legit, man. I think it was a tiny little spot, and it was funny because um my wife's cousin was just watching like a random video on YouTube and was like,
Hmm.
"Hey, have you seen this place?" And they've won what are some really crazy awards. It's off. It's off North Conway Avenue.
Ah, okay, por la Conway.
Yeah, and I do. They were good. They were good. I know. Edgar Veliz is a big foodie and a big taco place. Every time I hit him up,
Hmm.
taco joint that you found in Houston. So we always go back and forth. And I made sure to send them pictures of those tacos that I had, and I told him that he needs to go and he's always busy, but whenever he gets free, to make it
Yeah.
out there and get some tacos.
I'm
Chris, are you
sorry.
back?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I just heard a scream in the background, so I was like, "Oh no, who is it?"
No, you're good. But
I'm going. Well, I don't know
yeah.
where I'm going to the border, but one of my friends, he lives here in Houston, but he's getting married eventually someday in the border. He did propose, so it's one of
Hmm.
those things like, well, let's plan the wedding now.
Yeah.
But he said, whenever I get married, I'm gonna go get married at the border, or not on the actual border, but somewhere over there,
like
so,
on the bank of the Rio Grande, right?
So it's crazy because I can already imagine him at Santa Ana Wildlife Refuge because literally, yeah, because it's like literally like I've been there once and I actually walked like right like at the river, at the Rio
that's
Grande
wild.
River.
That's
Yeah.
fun. So I'll finish up because we have a lot to talk about. But I'm a big fan of like random shows, and one of the random shows that I watched was uh, Texas Game Wardens. It's on Discovery Plus. And so they go to different cities, but obviously
Hmm.
they spend a lot of time there too. So it's just funny to see all that. Dude, I've never hunted in my life, but I
Yeah,
want to do it. I love fishing. I do that, but anyway, that's
Speaking of that, did you hear about the guy that the wardens caught that he was using like an old porta potty as a hiding spot to hunt deer, like without a license?
that's
They were trying to find him for years until they actually finally found him like last week or something.
that's
yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy. Like if you ever get a chance, watch that show. I definitely recommend it because I mean, you don't realize, but they're state police. So basically, they don't just deal with game and poachers and stuff like that. I mean, they can do
Hmm.
anything, right? Like arrest.
Yeah, I've actually seen them because I usually see them around here. I've actually seen them pull people over. So they are like They do have jurisdiction just like any municipal
Everything.
police.
For a split second, I thought someone was gonna say I actually been arrested by game warden.
They've caught me. But nah, it's hilarious, man. But let's get to it.
Last thing, fire marshals also have a lot more jurisdiction than actual just regular police officers.
Really?
From what I hear. Because they can shut like any business down basically. Like when it comes to like safety and stuff like that. And they can be they're police officers, but they're also fire marshals or whatever. Or at least they have the same power or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they do have to have some sort of knowledge and well, not some sort, but they have to have knowledge in law enforcement too.
Yeah.
And criminal justice.
There's that. Fun facts of the day.
Fun fact. The more you the more you learn, right? The further you go.
And real quick to answer the question, no, I don't consider it. I'm a Grinch when it comes to Valentine's Day. The only reason I celebrate it is because it's my mom's birthday on the 14th of February. Yeah. That's about it. That's what I did on Friday.
There you go.
There you go, man.
She is a forever Valentine.
That's it. That's an easy one, man. You can't forget it.
You'd be surprised. I actually, for a long time, did not know when I was a kid. I would always remember my dad's birthday, which is December 23rd. Would never remember. My mom actually got salty a couple of times.
All right. Okay, we need to get into the Dynamo and Dash. But now you just made me think of something from my past. When I took a girl out and it was my mom's birthday. I didn't even think about it.
Oh no.
Yes. And then of course my mom was salty for a whole month. But Chris, finish it off.
You want me to give you so I had a girlfriend in middle school and I didn't get her anything for her birthday. So I got home, I looked at my mom's room. She had like a bunch of like stuffed animals. And guess what? I grabbed one of those and I gave it to a girl. I was like, oh, she'll never notice. And she did. Because it was something that my dad got her. So yeah,
there's that. Funny. That's hilarious. That's funny, man. Well, let's get to it. Again, there's a ton of action happening this week. Thank you guys for joining us. And we'll get started with Dash News. We'll go kind of quick on a lot of the information. The big stoppage point will be the Houston Dynamo's home opener against FD Dallas. So we'll get it going with the Dash. Last week we missed it in the sense of it happened the day we recorded. Forgot to add a slide. Forgot to even mention this new hire, but the Dash hired Jaime Frias, who just recently was coaching the Houston Cougars, the women's soccer team right here locally in Houston. But as you can see, he has a ton of accolades. And shout out if you're following us on right now, currently live, because you are catching all the slides that we create here at Bayou City Soccer. And we were going through, me and Chris were laughing before we started recording, of just in the sense of like how much he has. He's been coaching for nearly 25 years, through whether it be college, whether it be first division, second division, college, as well as national team. So it's pretty incredible the amount of accolades he has. And it's a good hire, somebody that can help Fabrice bounce some ideas back and forward, guys. Next up, preseason just began for for the Dash, who took on San Diego on Sunday. It was a 0-0 draw. First match for them, under Fabrice, trying to implement all that of the new information to the team with a lot of definitely new players on there too, who is going to coach. And so they'll be playing Saturday, February 22nd, their second match in Coachella Valley. Edson, Chris, not to put you on the spot, were you able to catch this game? I know it was at 2:00 on Sunday. I didn't get to catch it, so I just saw the highlight. But anyway, so yeah, they'll be taking on Portland. It's the first match against San Diego. It 0-0 makes a lot of sense for two teams that had been struggling in the past. We know how San Diego also did not do all that great last year. But again, Portland should be a better test. If you can get a decent result just for preseason, it could be a good measuring stick for what the season will hold. But we'll keep you updated in case any news come up with on our social medias regarding if this game is also going to be stream or broadcast anywhere for you guys to catch it. Anything anybody want to ask so far? So keep going. We got.
I don't know. Just a quick reminder that I mean, these are games that are going to be used for the players to kind of loosen up the rust that they have from the off season. They're going to be trying out new formations, new players. They're going to be putting a lot of these invitees in the game. So I mean, especially the first game, there's really not a lot that you can dissect out of.
Right.
Obviously, you want to go for the win, but it really doesn't mean much because you really don't want to be that team that's like, oh, the off-season champions, but you crap the bed, when it matters the most.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and take it with a grain of salt. I think it's interesting. As much as I'm the pessimistic most of the time, I would say with the Dash, I do feel a lot of optimism with everything that's been pumped into the club recently. And I believe, Chris, were you able to put the entire interview with Tim Howard? I forgot to ask you. Okay, so check that interview out. It was great feedback from Tim of kind of where the club is heading and the amount of work they're trying to do to make Houston one of the best teams. And that comes up with this next slide, being that Jane Campbell and Jasmine Ryan are both called up to the U.S. Women's National Team. For Jane Campbell, such an interesting thing because I mean she's worked so hard. She's obviously been with the Dash the longest, and it looks like she's finally getting that the possibility to break not just into the first team as she's been in and out, but officially take over that one spot. Man, Edson, you show a little hard for her. How excited are you, to see her get this call up and potentially taking, the starting goalkeeper position for the women's team?
So first of all, I want to say hi to Harry Austin that's in the chat. I'm glad to see you checking out Bayou City Soccer. And great to have you and interact with us in the chat, and as well as everybody that's on here. But honestly, for me, I've been a huge... I am very partial to goalkeepers. I love the goalkeeper position. I love playing. When I play pickup soccer, I just like the position because you have so much responsibility on your shoulders, right? Because you're the last line of defense, literally, right? And
if you mess up, it's a goal.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was a cousin or an uncle of mine that told me this, that the goalkeeper position is the only position where your mistakes are reflected on the scoreline.
Yep.
Right. So for me, Jane Campbell has been with the Houston Dash for a long time, like weathering the downs, which has been a lot more than the ups. And she's been through it. She has kind of persevered, in holding down that goal. She's saved us from from games where the score could have been a whole lot worse. And she has kind of gathered some attention, obviously from the U.S. Women's National Team, because despite the fact that she's really hasn't been in a great team, because let's be honest, the Dash have not been a great team, and I think it'd be kind of naive to say otherwise. But statistically, she has had a lot of saves. She's shown a lot of leadership as well. A lot of the times, it's really easy to be in a good team and excel in a good team. But more often than not, it's really, really hard to be in a terrible team and show up and actually, gather the attention on a positive note. And Jane Campbell has that. And I feel like it's been overdue for her to get that attention, to be consistently be called up to the women's national team. And just the fact that Jane Campbell, and just one more thing, that Jane Campbell, despite the fact that she's not in a really good team, she's a really good goalkeeper. She could have easily got into another NWSL team. She could have gone, como like we say in Spanish, picar piedra in Europe. But she has decided under her own accord to keep renewing with the Dash because she just loves Houston. She loves this team so much. And I feel like it's like not we, but the Dash ownership really owes it to her to build her a better team around her. And hopefully, and I see that's what they're doing. But, step by step, and just the fact that she's kind of persevered to the point that she kind of gathered national attention to kind of be that backup, or not the backup of the backup of the backup goalkeeper, like for the Olympics and things like that. But now you're starting to see like, hey, you know what? Maybe she has what it takes to kind of go up in the ranks. Will we see her be the starting goalkeeper in the U.S. women's national team? Maybe not. I still go a little bit more to the no than to the yes, not because of her that she lacks the talent, but rather is we go back. Being with the Houston Dash doesn't really like gather up a lot of attention on a national level than, let's say, Portland Thorns or Gotham,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously she's broken a ton of records, and for her to make that many saves is just because your team is not that great, right? I mean, to be honest, right? If it wasn't for Campbell, they probably could have lost. I mean, they did lose a lot, but they could have gotten way more goals scored against. Yeah, it could have been much worse. But it's good to see her, getting this opportunity to take over. And, Chiba Leagues Cup is around the corner. They'll be playing on Thursday, their first matchups here in Houston at Shell Energy Stadium. And they'll have two more outings for Chiba Leagues Cups. And they'll be taking on, and I'll give you here, I have it here. It's February 23rd, the U.S. will be taking Australia, and on the 26th, the U.S. will be taking Japan. So the next two features, it'd be Glendale, Arizona, and San Diego. But yeah, I mean, this is fantastic to see Jane and obviously Jasmine Ryan, who just got into the team. So fantastic news for them. And just to finish up the Dash realm for right now in NWSL, it was announced also that Mexico is having their tours happening, and they'll be playing Jamaica on April 8th at Shell Energy Stadium as well. So I mean, they put Bumby there. I guess they hardcore believe in her. Edson, I know, big fan of Bumby because of a lot of stuff, but
Lisbeth Valle.
She's great.
Yes.
She's one of my favorite. And obviously, Ordonez being the only Mexican international for the Dash currently. So it'd be good to see. I mean, women's soccer continues to grow, and seeing it, more games and more international games coming to Houston, because, I mean, the women's national team for the U.S. didn't really play much here. I mean, yes, they've had it in the past. First time they'll do the Chiba League Cup, so it's kind of nice for them to see some little tournaments kind of coming through here, especially with, the Gold Cup being played last year at Shell Energy Stadium. But Edson, anything you want to add before we close the Dash and NWSL as a whole?
Just real quick, I just feel like because you mentioned right now about how the U.S. women's national team doesn't really play a lot of games in Houston, but I really do feel like it really has a lot to do with attendance with the Dash. I feel like there's this whole thing where the U.S. Federation sees that not a lot of people go to the Dash games, and so that's why they don't come a lot to this market. They rather go to Portland. They'd rather go to San Diego. They'd rather where attendance for their local NWSL team is really, really high. And I really have to reiterate, I know it's kind of hard for me to say this because I don't live in Houston anymore, but I really think it's imperative for fans in Houston to know that this is why going to games for the Dash and supporting the women's soccer, our local women's team, is really, really important. Because I feel like maybe a lot of people don't pay attention to the Dash, but they want to pay attention to the U.S. women's national team. Well, you can't expect them to bring the U.S. women's national team a lot here to Shell Energy Stadium, because not a lot of people go and support the Dash. And there's a lot of really good players in the Dash, especially now that we're seeing a lot more big name players coming in and playing to the Dash, and they deserve their support, and if we consistently get higher attendance, for the Dash, we might start seeing the Federation taking another closer look at Houston and bringing the U.S. Women's National Team for more games, for more friendlies, or more tournaments, official tournaments here at Shell Energy Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's really what happened with the men's, side of things, right? If it wasn't for all the people showing up to all the international games, people showing up to the Dynamo, for a long time. I mean, that, whether it be Robertson or Shell Energy Stadium used to get, a ton of consistent crowd. I'm hoping that it gets back to it. But if it wasn't because of that, tournaments like Copa America wouldn't happen. The Gold Cup wouldn't happen. The World Cup wouldn't have happened. So you have to start somewhere. And if you are a fan of women's soccer, then show up to the games, support them, be out there. I mean, there's so many people that are involved, especially like on the youth side of things, where maybe their kids, their daughters, if you take them to those games, the fandom just continues to grow. And as you say, the city will be taken more serious as well when it comes to these tournaments and possibilities. But Chris, before you fall asleep, man, you keep yawning. I'm gonna start yawning myself, man.
I had to get up for a long time.
I'm with you, man. I had to get some sweet tea, man. I've been up pretty early, and I'm gonna have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow. But if you can tell the people how they can connect with us, brother.
Yes, if you are looking to connect with your passion of women's soccer for the Dash, you can go to BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find everything and anything that you need to know about the Houston Dash. All their information is there. You can also check out the information about the Houston Dynamo. They're about to kick off the season this weekend, and of course Dynamo Dos, as they're soon enough also going to start. And then like for example the She Believes Cup and events like that are going to happen in the city of Houston,
we will
be there and we'll be covering. So go to BayouCitySoccer.net or just check out Bayou City Soccer and all the social medias, Blue Sky, Twitter, RIP Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook. You literally go check everything out. Don't forget, if you are watching live on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification button so you can be notified whenever we go live. But yeah, BayouCitySoccer.net.
Yeah, and obviously check our featured sponsors, Ugly Guppy. Sure. They're doing fantastic work. And as well, Elotes Bravos will be bringing back the fan feud. If not this coming week, the week after that, and we'll figure out who wants to. Man, I do have quite a few names, so we'll make sure to make another social media post to get another crowd in here. The diehards are always welcome, right? They're the ones that bleed orange, whether it be Houston Dash, Houston Dynamo, and hey. Just to share the image again, you do see a Dynamo and a Dash logo on this, right? I don't want any, I only thought it was Dynamo. No, sir. Like, we're here. We're trying to get the team's, exposure. And you only do that by asking questions about them so people can learn, man. That's for sure.
Like Juan Gabriel said, sobre aviso no hay engaño.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lo que se ve no se pregunta.
What is otra cosa?
No, I'm saying there's two logos.
I guess so. But let's dive into the Dynamo news. I know we're about 30 minutes in. Hopefully there'll be another 30 minutes and we'll call it. Hopefully, right? But
we'll see.
Dynamo news, man. Things that we missed last week. We found out. Obviously, we knew because we have guys that take pictures for us, and
we have the eye in the sky.
We already knew Ursa was training with them, and but we are. If it's not official, we're not gonna.
We're like China and New Jersey, bro. We got the we got the freaking what are these things called? They have over there the drones. We got the drones.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Junior Urso signs with the club from free agency. He's here through the 2025 season with a club option of 20 for 2026. He is a veteran. I believe he's almost 36 years old. He's fantastic. I mean, from what we've seen from him, especially with Orlando, I mean, this guy can play. Definitely a backup for Arthur. Yeah, I think it's fantastic to have a player like him. I think they've done that in the past since the arrival of Ben Olsen, whether it be Caicedo, who came in and had a really good year, that 2023 season, and then went MIA with personal stuff, and then they tried it again with Jefferson Valverde. That one did not work out. They tried it with Junior Moreno. That one didn't work out. And Urso could be that guy. I mean, serviceable still. So, again, definitely not a day one starter, but you can always bring him in to close out a game, or just, if every third, fourth game Arthur needs a rest, give it to him, right? Because, I mean, Arthur played every single game last year. He was, I think we did the math, and I believe he was only 17 minutes away from playing every single minute in 2024. It's crazy. Damn. Those players, I mean, Arthur, it's a really good player, man. Anything you guys want to add, Edson, on this one? Chris?
No.
So I do feel like, because I do have seen a lot of comments on social media that, oh, why are we getting washed player? Oh, he's so old, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Here's the thing that you all need to realize. What's the point of having a built-up starting 11 when the coach looks at his bench and sees a bunch of young players in MLS in that, or maybe USL level, or they're starters from academy players? What's the point of that? Exactly. Number one, you bring in a veteran player like Urso or anything like that. Yeah, he might be old, or in the soccer sense, because then I'm probably going to be making myself feel old, right? But you bring in a player like that, and number one, it's going to build up competition in that position.
Yep.
What's gonna happen? It means now Artur, he can't have bad days, because now he's gonna look over his shoulder and see that Junior Urso, who has experience, is behind him, and they're like, oh man, I can't be complacent in the games that I play, because if I become complacent and make mistakes, then coach is gonna bench me. Now they're gonna have somebody that's gonna bench me, so that's gonna bring up Artur's level. Obviously, Junior Urso, he's going to want to fight for that starting position as well. So every time he comes into the match, he's going to be giving it his 100%. And that is going to make things better, not worse.
Look at the way, I love the way that Edson thinks, because that's absolutely right. I mean, and then you even throw a Brooklyn Reigns into the mix, right? If Brooklyn Reigns only sees Arthur in there, he's like, hey, I'm next up. But if you add somebody that has that, capacity, that's played a bunch of games in MLS and just in professional, then it pushes you even more, because now you're just not beating Arthur. You're not just waiting for Arthur to get injured. You have another guy in front of you. So it just, internal competition, man, makes it.
And here's the thing with Brooklyn Reigns, the dynamo, whether it's Ben Olsen or the team's psychologist, they're really gonna, because Brooklyn Reigns is young, they're really gonna have to make sure that this kind of movement doesn't bring him down. That rather than bring him down, that motivates him more to be able to fight for that position, even as a backup. So because we know that he wants more minutes, right? And so, yeah, you bring in Urso. Now I got to bring in double or triple the effort if I want to beat Junior Urso.
Yeah. Yep. And just talking about another guy that was brought in, we have finally a third goalkeeper added into the mix. They signed Blake Gilligan. He was brought in, same thing from free agency. He straight out of college. He played
that guy looks like he's 40. He looks like he's 42, 3 kids, 2 home loans.
And so he signed for this season, the 2025 season, and he has club options for each year through 2028. So we call this a easy and cap friendly type of get. And the guy's pretty solid, man. I mean, we did get to see him. I think he's been with the team since the San Antonio match early in the season since day one. Um, and he was a trialist, and he did get minutes. He looks like a solid guy. He played again in college. I think started all 4 years. So I mean, it's a backup. I think he's 22 years old, and he'll pre-year probably your starter goalkeeper for Dynamo 2. And will try to eventually beat out one of well, really, Jimmy Amore is who he's going to try to beat out for the second spot. But this guy has good potential, and we know how much you love goalkeepers, Edson. But I mean, this type of transactions, this type of transfers into a team are also very welcome, because sometimes people forget that everybody sees a goalkeeper and they're like, oh, he needs to be 30 something years old for him to be good, right? That's a lot of people's thinking. And then nowadays, you see other teams, they have 16, 17-year-olds playing as goalkeepers. So it's just an interesting get. I mean, again, nothing to rattle everyone's cages. I'm sure people are still really hoping that the Dynamo land a DP number 10 before the season starts, which at this point, I don't see that happening, being that the home opener is around the corner. Edson, anything you want to add about him? If not, you're good, man. Don't worry. We're doing a good time here with the slides. So let's go move in right into the rumor mill. DP number 10. I mean, it's been in and out of like some of the names we've talked about, but let's talk to the most recent, I guess things going around, which is Nico Loredo. Let's start with him before we move into Mikael and Felipe Andrade, because I believe those last two are more of a combo action there. But Nicolas Loredo, from what we know from sources last year, he was very, very close to signing with the Dynamo. Ultimately, he decided to join Orlando City. I believe he is still actually under contract with Orlando City. So I'm not necessarily sure what exactly is going to happen when it comes to what's going to be traded to get him. Or whether it be just purely cash, whether it be a player being sent over there. At this point, we really have to kind of think about it. And I think soon enough we'll find out with them breaking the news today about, finalizing a deal for Nicolas Loredo and a right back. So I'm hoping that Dorsey's not being sent over there. I hope that's not the case. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we all know that Dorsey does need a backup. At this point, he doesn't really have one. Franco Escobar, who is a natural right back, has been playing as a left back. So, Christian, Nico Loredo, a guy you know very well, obviously with his Boca years. And, I mean, we know him respectively very well just because he's always been fantastic, when he was in Seattle for so long. But just your thoughts on him and him coming in to the club potentially, right, at this point.
No, it's a great piece. It's a great piece. I mean, like you said, I have history with him in a way. And I've always liked him. He was always a really good number 10 to what, Boca always wanted to kind of, replace Riquelme since he left back in the early 2000s. And, Nicolas Loredo came to and kind of fulfill that role. He did very well. Then obviously he ended up coming to the MLS. I mean, we saw him with Seattle. He won championships over there. He lifted trophies. He was a solid piece. And obviously as the time went on, the age, it plays a factor. And like you mentioned, he was very close to coming to Houston last year. I don't think people know this. But we kind of heard through our sources that he was very, very close to coming to Houston, and it was kind of.
I had a graphic made and everything.
We were ready. We were ready,
but he picked Mickey Mouse
over. He picked a year with Mickey Mouse, and then continue with life.
Why he didn't have that much fun? It seems like, huh?
Yeah, and then when you see what the Houston Dynamo is building, right? The type of play that Ben Olsen is kind of putting together at that time, I think it was Ben Olsen's first year, maybe. Or maybe first or second year, but the team was still kind of building up, right? The pieces weren't there. I think we were still figuring out what the Dynamo was, and I feel like now that they have found an identity, and the Dynamo has become a competitive team, I think Nicolas Lodeiro could be an important piece coming off the bench, or playing some games when because he is the McGlynn type of backup, or kind of similar lefty, good with the ball, keeping it, touching it, moving it around, creator of the game basically. So whenever he comes off of the bench, he's going to be doing a lot of that, and things like that. When guys kind of stay in form, these guys are lethal. You don't have to be running all around the field. You just have to know your moments and know when to run them, and not when to keep to yourself. And I think the guy is just a smart guy like that. So having a guy like that in your squad with not only experience as a great, being a great soccer player, but experience in the league itself, that's also, it's a big plus, because MLS can be weird. You're playing different weather, like different just places in the world. You play turf, you play grass, you play closed stadium. There's no closed stadiums, but like you play, just in all types of environments.
And just the
when
fact
it comes
that
to the MLS,
he knows Seattle.
Yeah,
that too, true. Bro.
How long have we struggling to
100%.
Yeah.
So Dynamo beat them. Yeah.
Yeah. So if Nico Lodeiro can bring us a little bit of his knowledge from when he was at Seattle Sounders, I mean, that could be very helpful. And then also he could be Jack McGlynn's mentor,
of course,
as well.
Yeah.
That is also going to help.
And Lodeiro also gives me like playoff vibes, like playoff player vibes.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Lodeiro is a winner, right? I mean, he's won in, like you said, he's won in Argentina. He's won in with Ajax, I believe. He won with Boca, with Boca, with Botafogo that he played at in Seattle. Obviously, I mean, the guy he knows how to win. He's you mentioned last week, when we were doing predictions and you were talking to Cesar and you were questioning his prediction of the Dynamo winning MLS Cup, and you said, does the Dynamo have a player that can just kind of put that shirt and go to grind? This is the guy, right? Exactly. I think Lodeiro is one of those guys, and like you mentioned, if you keep him healthy the entire season, if he only plays off the bench every now and then and you wait for the playoffs and he's the guy, that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Dustin had said that he had 32 appearances, I believe, and like 16 starts. I mean, those are great numbers for a guy that is 36 years old. Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously the talent will never go away, and obviously his shape it's not that bad either. I mean, he played more than Hector Herrera did at this point. So
yeah, it's fantastic, and so it'd be a great addition. We're hoping that him, and obviously, I guess we can't really just leave the guy out. The right back was Mikel Holiday. They at this point, a package deal is to come to Houston, and like I said, I'm just really figuring out what exactly they're going to give up. So
and the thing about Michael Holiday, like Edson was saying, the whole competition, it's not that Dorsey is not good or he's not going to give it his all, but having somebody at his heels, aiming for his spot is going to push him to go even harder.
Right.
I mean, we see a lot of people, Dorsey, whenever he got his new contract, it's not that
a little bit of a dip.
Except he did take a little bit of a dip because we saw him going really high because he was looking for his contract. We're not saying that happened, but we're just kind of reading as it is. And he was just going full force, got a contract.
Well, you have a chip on your shoulder, right? You're gonna work even harder. You prove somebody right. You finally land in a place that the fans like you. You're doing well, and then eventually you are stacked in a different category in the what is it called? Salary cap allocation. And that right there, with nobody behind you, like you said, nobody's really been fighting for that position. And now you have somebody that can help you. Yeah, for sure.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Griffin Dorsey tends to be a lot more of an attacker than a defender, correct?
100%.
Correct. So basically the idea for Vin, and we'll talk about it a little bit more for sure once I have a slide that has like the starting lineup, but Dorsey always pulls up, and in reality, the left back tucks in as a third center back. So that's usually the way we see it. And yeah, Dorsey is an attacker more than anything, but he does come and defend every now and then. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. But let's finish with the rumor mill. With both Mikael looks like he's leaving. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was in. Well, I haven't seen him in social media by the team in a long time. It looks like Palmeiras is knocking at the door, offering about 5 million, which is crazy, right? For Mikael, the whole history of him coming into Dynamo 2, getting minutes there, getting some minutes with the first team, and then just outright taking out who at the time looked like the best center back the Dynamo had in teenage Hadavi, and just Hadavi never could take it back. And fantastic, obviously. It's sad to see him go. A lot of people are predicting the Dynamo are not going to be all that great just because of him alone, which is crazy, right? But the combination here is, as soon as this rumor came live from Tom of the Mikael leaving, the rumor also came back of Felipe Andrade coming in. So from the get-go, as soon as they announced some kind of rumors with this Fluminense center back, I told the guys, I'm like, someone's leaving, whether it be Zviachenko eventually leaving or Mikael leaving. And at this point, I guess you can't have two Brazilian center backs with the Dynamo, man, at this point. But Edson, just your thoughts real fast on just, it looks like it's a done deal, right, for Mikael. But your thoughts on him with the Dynamo and, his legacy, I guess, at this point, and being a record transfer. He's going to outbeat Coco Carrasquilla's transfers to Pumas, man.
I'm not gonna lie, wasn't a big fan of him. The beginning when he after he had his time with Dino Dos, he was very shaky in the back, and then that Leagues Cup own goal against Charlotte. Yep. I was like, really, Mikael, get out of here! Like, I don't want him, kind of thing. But I think as time progressed and Ben Olsen gave him confidence, he started to get better. He started to kind of like the foundation in that back line, like started to be a little bit more cohesive, to the point where, he started having really, really good performances within the Houston Dynamo back line, so he kind of shut me up, right? As all players should be, you take the criticism and you grow from it and prove them wrong the right way. Right. And now the fact that, that they're asking for, or that they're being offered 5 million for Mikael, a player that you brought in, to play with your reserves team and went through the whole process to becoming an undisputable starting position. I think that is something to be admired for his perseverance. And I really wish him well, in his future in the Brasileirao, to be honest. And I feel like that should be a success for the Houston Dynamo. And another thing is the fact that I feel like in previous years, we kind of struggled with the fact of having good players that we sell at a profit. And we're starting to see that now more and more. Hopefully Felipe Andrade coming in can equal it, or even be even better in that back line, because Mikael is going to leave the bar a little bit high.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because it seemed like, I think the Dynamo paid, rumor, right? They never take out those fees, but it was rumored that he was right under like 500K. So you multiplied, 10 times at this rate of what they're getting. And obviously the team he came in from is going to get part of that amount just because of the sell-on clause. And the Dynamo also seems to be retaining 20% in case or whenever he gets sold again. So they'll make a little bit more money, in the future as well. So it's cool. It's been a feel-good story. It's been like the story that everybody's like, when is the next Mikael coming in? But this year, clearly the Dynamo have become a selling club too. So it's kind of cool to see that as well, for sure. And then, Chris, obviously this Felipe Andrade, a 22-year-old center back, seems like he's going to likely be the one that comes in. But at this point, Zviachenko and Ethan Barlow are likely your, starting center backs, man.
Yep. I'm very high on Barlow.
Yeah. No, he's
very high.
Yeah, and we can deep a little dig a little deeper on that. One thing that we did find out last week was that the Leagues Cup matchup finally became true, man. And I'm sure Edson is extremely excited.
Not at all.
Too bad it's a Tuesday game because probably you can't make that game, man. But
yeah, unfortunately,
maybe
I
just
think
be
you
sick
can
the
get
whole
sick,
week.
bro.
Just get sick. Tell your employer they're gonna be sick, like those days from now. Just tell them now. That's what I did.
Well, I can't do it now because now
No,
it could be oye, peligro that my boss is watching Bayou City soccer. Oh boy.
Hey, if they are, man, thank you for following us. Keep an eye out.
Don't forget to subscribe and like, please.
But we also find out, obviously, someone dropped the ball and released those tickets out early for the Tigres game, and everybody panicked. I think they saw everybody kind of posting it, and then boom, we drew them from people's account, including mine. But again, they made it official. They'll also be playing Mazatlan, another purple team. Dude, they should just go purple against purple, and then we don't know who's out there, who's who. But they'll be playing them as well. And in between the Friday game and the Tuesday game against Pachuca, another game that's going to be happening is Club America is going to be taking on Minnesota at Shell Energy Stadium. So you believe that Bayou City Soccer is going to be there covering those games, and I'm sure some of the guys are dying to be there for the Club America game. Like a good Chivas fan, I'm not going to be there for that, and I really want to be there for the Dynamo Tigres, but at the same time, I don't know. Too many Regios for my taste, Edson.
Hey,
it's gonna be yellow. It's gonna be more
don't
yellow
diss my people.
Orange.
Don't diss my people.
But no, just I guess a little bit of just how excited are you, Chris, of seeing those matchups, and then Edson close it out with how excited are you to see a Dynamo versus Tigres?
I'll let Edson go first. I'm looking for a picture.
All right, go for it.
That I took.
Edson, how excited are you, man, for that Houston Tigres?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited because Tigres has been one of those teams that when they come to Houston, there is a big following.
Yep.
Right. I think the last time that they played, which was for CONCACAF Champions League, I think there were more Tigres fans than Dynamo fans, unfortunately. Yep. For the Dynamo's sake, right? But it's a team that whose fans like really turn out. Almost wherever they go. I think even when they played here in at HEB Park, RIP, they had a really good showing. So obviously Tigres has built a reputation of being one of the best teams in Liga MX. So it's going to be a really big parameter for Houston to kind of show what they've got. Houston is trying to build a team that wants to be a contender for the MLS Cup and pretty much for any tournament that they participate in. And just the fact that in their schedule, you have two good teams from Liga MX with the two completely different, I guess how can I explain it? But the points of view on how to build a roster. Because in Tigres, you've got a lot of money. You got a lot of money, you got a lot of veterans, and with Pachuca, you've got a lot of youth. You got a lot of academy building, and so it's going to be very good to see how the Dynamo stacks up against them too. And if they can get, statement wins against either one of those two Liga MX teams, it's going to be ringing a bell to everybody else in MLS, especially a lot of these pundits that always minimize the Houston Dynamo, that, hey, now Houston is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting just the fact that it's the setup is different, right? There's the same amount of Mexican teams, the same amount of MLS teams, and seeing that every Mexican and MLS team are going to play like Liga MX versus MLS. That's a big deal because how tired were you also of what keep seeing like the Dynamo go against a bunch of MLS teams that they already play. Maybe not yearly, right? If they're not in their same conference. But if you really want to build a rivalry, if you really want to increase the competition in the continent, I think it's way better when they go, head to head with somebody from a different league altogether. Chris, did you find the picture? You're still
I
looking.
did not, but it's okay.
All right, man. Well, that's fine. Again,
It is what it
we'll
is.
have plenty of time to hit Leagues Cup because again, there's it's not till August, late July. But one match also that the Dynamo will be playing March 19, and I believe those tickets are going up sell. It's the Houston Dynamo versus El Salvador.
Bro,
I
so
wonder.
many games.
Dude, it's too many. I wonder if Juris is gonna show up to this match with the half Dynamo, half El Salvador jersey.
You have to, bro. You have
spoke
to.
about last time, but no, it's crazy. I mean, I think the El Salvador, Guatemala, like all those national teams that don't come as often as others per se, but they show up to Shell Energy Stadium, and so this international match, I find them interesting, right? Because club against national teams they're funky. It's like FIFA, right? You pulled up FIFA and you started to like, hey, who are you gonna be? Oh, I'm gonna be Argentina. Who are you gonna be? Barcelona. Like yeah.
It's almost like you're gonna go to the stadium. You're gonna try to find that you've got like two people with Xbox controllers like playing while the game is happening.
Yeah. And my only thing is I hope Set N shows up. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of Set N jerseys out there for sure. Mm-hmm. Salvador and Dynamo, man. That's the biggest tide. But yeah, Chris, you plan to be there to this match? Are you excited for something like this?
Honestly, yeah. The like you said, these are the wonky games that you want to go to. A club versus a country. You're like, what's going on here? Luckily, I guess the Dynamo doesn't have any Salvadorian players that I can think of right now that could be called out. Because imagine playing like with your national team against your club. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like a Chicharito thing. Whenever he was with Chivas, and then like
Manchester United,
and he played half and half. That was pretty cool. But yeah.
That would be cool. We should have Seren play half and half too.
Yeah, hey, amazed Mr. Tovar. He said he just joined what we've been talking about. You haven't missed a lot if you are just wanting to know about the game against FC Dallas because we're close. We're getting close. But we'll finish this off with, well, not finish off. I think I have one more slide after this, but we got to see the jersey. I mean, we talked about it a lot. I like it. I got to see it in person. Sorry, Edson, did not get it for you, even with the discount, man. It was still,
it's pricey.
We'll get it for you next time. I promise that for sure.
we needed 3 more sponsors.
Yeah, but man, this is very nice jersey, Chris. You were there. Tell us what you thought about this, and before we go to the next one.
No, it was great. I mean, we got to chat with our friend and pal Cesar Procel from TUDN, from Enganchados. So it was fun, man. I mean, anytime that we get to do radio shows or we get to do appearances or live shows anywhere, honestly, being with our podcast or being with him or Glenn Davis, whoever it may be, right? It's always fun. It's always fun interacting with people that are like live and just literally watching you as you're talking, or people online. It's fun. And, the added plus that we were, revealing a jersey, that we were showing the jersey off for the first time, other than, online pictures and stuff like that. We actually literally had the real thing, and we got to see it before it went live to the world. It was fun. It's an amazing experience. Honestly, I just want to say I'm blessed to be part of Bayou City Soccer, honestly, that we get these experiences and we get to kind of go behind the scenes sometimes. Yeah. We also saw something that we're not supposed to talk about.
Yes, we'll talk about it at a different time.
But we'll talk about it at a different time, but we did see other things. Other jerseys, but we did see other things that could be coming up in the future, so it's fun.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna add, shout out to we were there, we saw who was the first person to buy it in person, so
yeah,
shout out to Sergio Celaya, the guy from The Search. He was the first guy there. I felt bad for him. He got there like around 9:30. He kept knocking. He just trying to get, because it was chilly that day, and they weren't opening the doors for him, man. Poor Sergio, man.
He was probably from the meme, like, let me in, let me in.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's what it felt like. He knocked like a few times, and I'm like, no one's gonna open the doors. It's like, it was cold, man. I mean, we walked the the Concord, my God, it's windy there, dude. When it's cold, and the jacket we were all wearing was not rated for that type of cold for sure. But yeah, no. So a beautiful jersey, man. Definitely get yours before they run out. I think we've talked about it already enough. I wouldn't say it looked a lot different from what was leaked originally, right? But it had a few little decals and patches on the jersey to make it a little nicer and to celebrate the 20-year jersey at this point, but 20-year anniversary. So it's a nice jersey, man.
I do feel like maybe that back collar jock tag. I feel like it should have been like at least the star with the race coming out.
Yeah,
like I feel like that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, we saw the jersey that Chris was going to talk about was the Dash jersey. We got to see it. I mean, they'll be releasing it sometime soon, right? But the idea of when we got the leak image, because having that little H on the bottom made it really cool, and I feel like there's not one thing. Yes, there's obviously, as you guys can see in the image, the HD with a 20 that Edson's talking about is there, that is from the collar, and then it does have the 20-year anniversary patch, which honestly prints out like, I mean, it looks Photoshop, man. It looks fake. It's so cool, like, it's very clean, and that's at the bottom right of the jersey if you look at it from in front of you. And I mean, it's nice. I definitely gonna get it. I don't probably sooner than later at this point, but I really like it to add it to my collection. But yeah, they didn't get this one wrong, man. But full on Dynamo here. Let's move a little quicker with the preseason. Again, we already know they played against Columbus. We really don't know the score. It seemed like it ended 1-0. Aliu scored a goal, and that was literally all we found out from both the Dynamo and Columbus crew. And then against DC United, they got destroyed. I kept seeing 3-1. Ponce scored a nice goal, but I kept seeing people say, like, because it was around the same time that it leaked about Mikael leaving, and they're like, "Oh my God, Mikael left. Look at this team. It's going worse." Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is.
Wooden spoon. We're gonna win the wooden spoon.
Right,
basically.
And then to finish out the week before we go, obviously the Dynamo Fan Fest happened. Obviously, we saw a lot of videos and pictures from the club. Those, as a fan, those are great. I think they just kind of connect you more with the team, and it really wants you to bleed orange for your team. So, anytime you're able to make it out to those type of events, I highly recommend it. I missed out. My wife even was like, "Oh my God, there was a fan fest. Why didn't you say anything?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna complain. We're going out of town. I don't want to be moody the whole time that I missed out on a cool event. I like to take my son in particular, but I'll take both my kids to them. But guys, this is the moment. The season starts now, guys. So FC Dallas is coming to town to Houston, downtown Houston, Edo, 7:30 p.m. Shell Energy Stadium. Yep, get your tickets now. They're obviously, get them. Don't just skip and try to find Miami, because you're going to pay 5-10 times more for any other ticket. I mean, might as well get season tickets at this point, guys. But how excited is it, Christian, to finally get the season started and against the Texas Derby rival, brother?
I am super excited. Can you tell? No, I'm just kidding. Right. No, honestly, very, very excited. Very, super excited. Soccer is back, man. That means that I'm gonna have to take out my whiteboard from under the couch. I already have all the dates now.
This lady gave you that one.
You know what I'm saying? Probably. I think I took it from them. But no, man. We love watching soccer. We love stay tuned.
Yeah, so to answer that, yeah, we're gonna be, I mean, the weather is supposed to be crappy as hell here. I told Edson, I'm like, Edson, what's happening? I thought Houston weather was crazy. Down in the valley, it said low of 54, high of 91, and we got it all on Saturday, man. It was like 91 degrees at 4:00. It was crazy. But the weather's supposed to get really cold and rainy. We're hoping not too much of a rain, but the idea is to be out there at the El Batallon hangout at Texas Tailgate. Yep. And they are going to start the party, I think, at 4:00. We're trying to get there early. Chris, I need you to you call in sick or leave early.
No, I'm off that day. All
right, good. And we're planning to be out there. We'll try to do a stream, and if not, worst case scenario, maybe we'll go and talk to the fans, see kind of what their prediction is. We know Evie is a big fan of FC Dallas and their fans, so I hope that we get some really good videos and really good interaction from them, from Hoodies, from Manny, from all the guys out there for sure. But yeah, so we'll see if we can do a pregame stream before that match. It's gonna be a long day, and I'm excited for it, man. Then Dallas new kid, there's Dago. Dallas new kid is so bland, and it was fantastic. Edson, that picture you posted of them, they didn't even fix the damn jersey, man. They're already what's wrong with this? But let's go real fast. We'll talk more about the game and predictions. Let's see what we're thinking. But with Mikael being out, this is what we are predicting the starting lineup to look like. So you have Tarbell in goal, undisputed at this point. Dorsey on the right, which answers your question, Edson. He's in the right. He usually goes up and down, but mostly it stays pretty high up as Zviachenko, Bartlow. People are like, oh, well, you have Daniel Steres on the left back. Well, Escobar hasn't really played all preseason. From the game against San Antonio, Dustin and I were there. They never mentioned anything, but we noticed that Escobar wasn't part of the drills when it came to sprints after they were done, just to keep the cardio up. He was in the corner drinking mate the whole time. So we're assuming he has some kind of knock, which may keep him away from this first match. So Daniel Steres will slot right in there and become the third center back, being that Dorsey's going to keep pushing up. And again, Mikael being out. Center, you have Arthur, who I'm assuming he's going to be the captain of the team. We haven't even gotten that far, but it's either him or Zviachenko. That's the only players that I can see. We got Bassi in there and McGlynn. I'm so excited for McGlynn, man. And then Seba Kovalchik has played every game of the preseason. He looks really good from the little that we've seen in person and obviously clips throughout. And
the little that we've seen. Is it because he's short?
He's a little magician. So he's going to be out there playing on the Coco role at this point, who's going to obviously tuck in, and Dorsey's going to make runs past him. On the other side, Christian's favorite player, Ibrahim Aliyu, maintains his starting position. And then Ponce, the 37-goal season starts on Saturday. And, hey, believe it.
Put into existence.
So that's what we're looking at, man. I'm going to start with Edson here. Obviously, Mikael, big miss, right? We talk about this. Mm-hmm. But looking at the starting lineup that you see in front of you, how confident are you feeling, with this season home opener at this point? Let's not get too ahead. We did predictions last episode, but just this matchup, man. FC Dallas also has lost a lot of players. Jesus Ferreira, Paul Arriola. They did just get Lucho Acosta. Obviously, they have Peter Musa and another striker that they just signed. So it's not like they're a bunch of duds either. It seemed like it was going to be that way with a new coach in Nico Esteves. But, man, how are you feeling, man, so far, looking at this?
I think the key here, if we look at this predicted starting 11, the key is going to be the Dynamo to maintain possession and with their offense, keep FC Dallas occupied on their side of the field. If they're going to, why? Because I do feel like there's a lot more questions on the defensive lineup than on the offensive lineup. So if you can keep FC Dallas worried about getting attacked and not getting their players forward to try to attack and put on Tarbell's goal, that's gonna be good for the Houston Dynamo. But if the Dynamo isn't able to maintain possession, lose the ball in transition, then that's where I feel like things might get a little bit shaky for Houston, right? But if you give the ball to Aliu, you keep Artur and Bassi to coordinate and orchestrate, the distribution of the ball. You get Ponce some good crosses, inside the box. McGlynn maybe get some shots from outside the box. You're going to keep FC Dallas occupied, and they're going to be so worried about bringing in your midfield down to help defend, rather than pushing them up to try to attack and maybe force Dorsey, because this is the key. Dorsey moving up. But if FC Dallas continues to attack, Dorsey's going to have to move down, right? Yep. And he's not as comfortable defending than he is attacking. So that's where I think it's going to be the key in my eyes.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Just the way that you approach this game. I think possession, we know what type of game they play for sure. So, Chris, what do you want to add with this? What Edson said, or anything else?
No, I mean,
hey, if I'm wrong, tell me.
No. I just feel like, no, I think we just have to wait and see what this team is going to turn out to be. I mean, Dallas it's one of those teams that in the beginning we were like, they don't have anything. But then as the time went on, they, like Edson said, they did start stacking players offensively. So it's going to be interesting to see how, obviously, people are talking about the departure of Mikel and everything like that. But I think Barlow is as good, if not one. I wouldn't say better, but I think he's as good as Mikel could be. And then just trying to see, what McLean can do. What is his role going to be? How is he going to be a player? I mean, that's talking from ignorance, because I've never seen the kid play, and if I have, I don't remember. But obviously, I'm going based of what, the high of Joey, the high of Dustin, the high of Rudy here. Apparently this kid is the deal, is like the truth is going to be him, right? And then just thinking about what, his role is going to be, what is going to be. I'm really high on Kowalczyk too. I think he has been growing a lot, and just, I think we have a solid team to beat a Dallas team at home for the first game of the year. Obviously it is a derby. It's weird because I feel like Houston Dallas has lost its touch.
Yeah, it's a little saturated, especially when you do it the first game of the season. I think it's, instead of, I mean, it's still going to be big. Home openers tend to be a good crowd in general, but I'm hoping that people didn't skip out and buy the second game of the season tickets and just kind of like put this in the back burner. But just to add to, what you guys are saying, I think that a lot of first of all, I feel confident, right? I think the Dynamo will get a win, being a home opener, being against a rival. But the biggest thing, and, going back to the lineup, I feel like at the end of the day, even with some pieces missing, I think that the system works well with what the team has. Therefore, the team is just going to work better. The core is there. I think that you're going to maintain possession for most of the game. Now, the only thing that really is going to matter is, can you put it away, right? Do you have enough in the attack? We know that Anali and Quinones are going to be with the team in the near future, but they're not here right now. So, who's going to help, feed Ponce? And whoever does that, it's going to, if it's Kowalczyk, fantastic, right? I think he can have breakout year at that rate, because of, to take what Joey said last week, his numbers were awful, in chance creating last year, but he could take a big step. He has the ability to do it. And, playing out wide, tugging in it with Coco, I think he's more creative than Coco was. So I do feel that role is going to help him definitely. And Mr. Tovar, man, yes, we talked about the Laredo and the holiday coming to Houston are likely. They're happening. Now, we don't know exactly what the Dynamo are going to give up. And so when that becomes official, we'll let you guys know. But if you did miss anything, every episode goes into the live stream in our YouTube page. So once this is over, if you hit live, you can go watch it there. And of course, if you're a podcaster feed type of person like myself, you can catch it tomorrow morning on the podcast feed. So wherever you listen on Apple or Spotify, it'll be there for you guys to go back and check it out. So, all right, guys, great conversation so far. I want to get your thoughts on the prediction. I mentioned the fact that I think the team is going to win. Not necessarily going to say, exactly how many goals. We'll have actually an article for that coming out for you guys. So all the guys from Bayou City Soccer will give out their prediction for this match. And internally, we do like to see who gets closer to the actual score line.
We're competitive.
We're very competitive. This is, that's the nature of the beast. But
Edson, will be boys.
Positive result here. I know you already mentioned a lot, but yes, win, draw, loss.
I'm actually going to go on a limb here, and you're probably going to be surprised. I'm going to go with a draw.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a draw because I feel like maybe there's a lot of pieces that still need to gel together, and somehow FC Dallas always finds a way to ruin something at Shell Energy Stadium. I think the last times I've gone to see I was gonna say South Texas Derby, a Texas Derby game at Shell Energy Stadium, they managed to either sneak a win when the Dallas had been doing terrible, or hold on to a 0-0 lead. But I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
Yeah. Chris, how are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling positive as hell. I always do in the beginning. Let me just give you some history numbers.
Look at you.
That's what I was looking up. Somebody got to fill the shoes, right?
There you go.
6 wins for the Dynamo, 14 draws, 15 wins for Dallas. So, hijos, unfortunately, but that's the reality of it. At home, the Dynamo at home, playing at home, 5 wins, 5 losses, 9 draws. So this one will either add to the drawing part of the thing, or the differential will swing either way. Myself, I'll go ahead and give you a full number too. I think we're going to win 3-1.
3-1.
So let's just do that. Brace by Ponce and go for McGlynn.
There you go. I like it. The only thing, whenever Edson was speaking about the draw and, the confidence, with Hector being out, right? I don't want to beat this horse is already dead, basically, right? But with all those bigger names out and even not in Mikael, it does make you worry some. But if you're gonna worry about anything, honestly, I think it's gonna be Steve Clark. I think, the president Steve Clark brought and what Tarbell's gonna bring. He's not a dud. He's a good player. I mean, he's had some good stuff, but I think, as Edson mentioned earlier about, mistakes as a goalkeeper, they really show on the stat board. And so that's what would be my worry. But I still feel that because they are going to hold a lot of possession, I see them victorious. Victorious. What would this be up to see afterwards? Third Coast, Javi. This will be on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, our page at Bayou City Soccer. Then there's a couple different tabs. You hit the live tab, and you'll see this episode there if you want the video. Otherwise, you can catch it on Apple or Spotify. I think that's usually pretty much any podcast-based feed. So anyways, that's where you can catch it. Look at you, man. Somebody agrees with Chris. Never agree with Chris. He's always wrong. But guys, I'm kidding. He's always right. That's why we created a new segment for you, Chris. Have you been thinking of what we're gonna give out
this whole entire podcast? Every time you see me doze off, it was me thinking.
All right, good. That's what I was thinking. So I'm gonna give you. We do have the Ask Joey stats. You're more like Crush Joey stat, which we've been fantastic at crushing for Joey stats. But we have a segment for Chris, which we are calling Chris Orange Deviation. It's fantastic. Divination. Sorry, I can't even freaking talk. Christian's Orange Divination. So basically, the idea here, this is because there's only one team playing right now, so this is purely for the Dynamo. But we'll have Chris give us something that he thinks is gonna happen or not. Well, he thinks it's gonna happen. We'll decide via a poll on our social medias whether you guys, the fans, think that it's gonna happen. So Chris can say Ponce is gonna score a brace. There's gonna be a clean sheet, something like that. Maybe even more specific. How many progressive dribbles Aliu's gonna get against a certain team. But anyways, so yeah, that's the idea. I think it'd be fun because we'll put it on here and we'll put up the poll and see who gets it right, whether Chris got it right or if you guys think he's gonna get it right or if he's gonna get it wrong. So it'd be fantastic to bring it back, and then we'll talk about it later on. But Christian, you've been thinking.
Yeah, I've been thinking, and I actually have two of them, so I don't know. We can pick either or.
We can do both if you want. Yeah. Let's see. You can let people know. So start with what? Yeah.
The first one that I had come up with, which it took me a little while to kind of like come up with, and then once I got the first one, the second one just kind of came by as well. But the first one was, people always talked about, or not people, Ben Olsen and Pat Onstad talked about how Tarbell was really good at, or his range of kicking the ball, or like, trying to give long passes was really long. And it was, it was good. It was a lot better than Clark. Clark he was probably great in his feet when it came to short passes, but when it came to long balls, he just didn't have the power, right? So they would always talk about how they could use that as a weapon for Tarbell when he doesn't have options to kind of go long and look for Ponce. Ponce, we know he's a great guy that could play with his back against the goal. I was going to say the goal. So my first divination of the night will be that Josh Tarbell. I don't know who that is, but Andrew Tarbell is going to have at least, or a minimum of 3 attempts of him trying to find Ponce specifically.
Okay.
Not just kicking the ball up, not just clearing. That doesn't count. But he will look for Ponce or Aliu. I'm all at that to it. Look for an attacking player, Ponce or Aliu, those two specifically, to kind of give the ball to.
So he's going to look for a quick play
over the head.
Field.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll call that. Okay. Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because we didn't see it often with Steve Clark. So we'll see if Tarbell does that. All right. I'll duck that one down, and you can start the next one. What is it?
And the next one will be, since the Dynamo was not known, or something that we just we would watch and just pull our hairs out about, was nobody would take shots. Nobody would take shots from outside the box. Nobody will take shots from outside the box. Coco had a great shot, never took one. And every time he took one, it hit somebody on the back. Bossy, same thing. He's always, or that, it flies to the moon. It hit somebody in the Heineken bar somewhere. And then Bossy, same thing, right? Bossy always kind of had one more touch, and they just never went. Aliu, you guys know what I think of Aliu. Aliu, even though he has progressive carries, he does his progressive carry,
he does a great job going out wide. He just goes and goes, kind of like Georgian Dam, like when he played with Tigres and everybody he played with.
Yes,
he's fantastic on the flank, but that's kind of where it dies.
Huge shout out to Oakland Roots.
I saw that.
And then Dorsey, another play that would go in, but he would basically just wait to get inside of the box to take a shot. He would never take shots from outside. He has to cross the line to take shots. So my second divination is that what's his name?
Hey, my boy Jack
McGlynn. Jack McGlynn will take at least 4 shots from outside the box.
Ooh, 4. Okay.
So he better start shooting now, because 4 shots is a lot. But I think he's gonna try them.
And the fans really need to support that, because I feel like a lot of fans, I'm gonna include myself because I'm guilty of it too. When you start seeing players that start wanting to, try to get those shots from outside the box, but they sky them or they don't go near the goal, and be like, an opportunity wasted. Stop shooting. You're just gonna, but let them. I think, because you're right, Chris. One of my biggest pet peeves last season was it's almost like they wanted to go in with the ball into the end line or into the box to score. And when you've got a team that is going to be parking the bus, I think there's two ways that you can break, somebody that's parking the bus, and that is shots from outside the box or 1-2s. But when you have players that can take shots from outside the box, you really need to use that to your advantage, because not a lot of teams are able to defend those kind of plays.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I like them. That's too good. Good Christian's orange divination. So we'll get them out. Yeah, exactly. So now we have something to look at, right? At this point, like kind of keep an eye on it. Especially we're gonna be watching it live, so it'd be fantastic, man. Let me see. We get one thing from here. Do y'all think Alejandro Fomar can come back still young? Whoa, man, Mr. Tovar. It's I think the show is over now. The show is
never. Yeah, God, I hated him. I hated Fuenmayor. And then when he came to RGVFC multiple times, like he showed no ambition. I remember one time, like he did something as he was coming over here. I don't know. Was it he? I don't know. Like he tweeted something that. Oh, I think he tweeted a yawning because he got sent down to RGVFC, and he put a yawning emoji on Twitter, and then I think they booted him back to Houston Dynamo or something like that. And now he was. Last I heard, he was in Oakland Roots in the USL Championship.
He went to Phoenix as well, wasn't
he?
And
he really did not succeed in those places, and kept on getting dumb red cards.
Bring back Kiki Struna. Look at that, man. Everybody's trying to bring some other kind of fantastic defenders for the Dynamo, man.
No, let's not, guys.
All right, guys. Let's. I think it's been great so far, man. We had like a good amount of people trickle in the whole hour and a half nearly. Dynamo 2, man. I wish we could give you more news on Dynamo 2, but the only thing to add here is that everything keeps getting canceled. There's really no information out there. It does look like they'll be playing El Paso Locomotive and Austin FC this week. If we hear anything, we'll let you know at this point. Yeah. It's not like we're trying to keep people. I mean, we want to cover the team. There's nothing out there. So at this point, the only thing they did get mentioned was that their home match against North Texas SC got moved to a different time, different date altogether. But that's it. That's all we know. We don't even know what the roster looks like at this point, guys. So, I love keeping up with the academy team because you want people to go in there. Sendero has no knees. He literally lasted like 30 minutes, and then Fuenmayor came in. You guys remember? And then that's how they won the U.S. Open Cup in 2018. So I tied it all together, brother. I tied it all together here. But guys, it's been such a good show, guys. Chris, man, tell the people how they can connect with us.
Yes, sir. So the website, the guys, is like always, BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find anything and everything that is Houston related, Houston Dash, Houston Dynamo, Houston Dynamo Los, any coverage of soccer going on in the city. There's a lot of international soccer coming up this year, so stay tuned for that. We'll be following it and bringing you the best pictures, the best writing material, of course, and videos too. So now stay tuned to that. There's going to be some really cool stuff coming. We added a few more people to the team, and that is going to be great. Should check it out. I don't know. You read it because I was reading it and I forgot.
Yeah, no, keep going.
But Bayou City Soccer at all social media, guys. Blue Sky if you're there, X if you're there, Instagram if you're there, Facebook if you're there with your grandma, and then of course the YouTube channel. Don't forget to go there, subscribe, like the video, and hit the little bell for the notifications. And once again, shout out to Ugly Guppy at uglyguppy.com and Elotes Bravos at Elotes Bravos on Instagram for their support for the show.
We got to get that Elotes Bravos on Saturday, dude.
Boy, they better get ready.
And don't forget to share the reels too.
Oh, yes. So before I give a shout out to Edson, I was going to mention Javi. He said, thanks. I'm going on Saturday. What should I check out? Check out Elotes Bravos, man. Go over there. Find us out. If you get there early enough, we're going to be at Texas tailgate. So, again, hopefully the weather kind of works with us for sure. I'm okay with cold. I just don't like rain and cold.
You gotta show up and go like this, so we know it's you, because you're third coast, Javi.
Third coast, man. Third coast.
Because if not, we're not gonna know who you are. You know what I mean?
That is true. But
you're
if you're out there, man, and I'll take some stickers. Something that you can take back home with you, for sure. But yeah. Oh, Edson. No, Edson does a fantastic job. But thank you so much, Edson, for joining us and showing your face to your beautiful face to the people, because obviously they know you're here in spirit. You're usually in the background, and I do a terrible job of like calling Edson to come in when I know he doesn't want to be a part of the show. He's doing his best to be in the back and do everything. But Edson has done fantastic reels that we put on social media, as well as YouTube as well. So everything, man. Those things are going great. And obviously, as Chris mentions, man, we've added our team keeps growing, man. I think we were trying to be the best local coverage of the Dynamo, the Dash, and Dynamo 2. So you'll figure out soon enough who's all in the team. I'm thinking the team started with like 5 of us, and then as soon as I jumped in, I'm the bad rotten egg, because I'm the one that always kind of if you can do this, you gotta put like 1,000%. That's my mentality. So if it wasn't for my attitude, I think we wouldn't have this many people. But I'm glad we do, right? Because you have to bring the passionate fans. So obviously we keep adding. And we don't add just to add. You have to bring quality. People that like Edson. Again, if it wasn't for Edson, like our social media, Chris always sends me a thing that says, "Did you see our social media? Did you see how many people looked at our videos?" I'm like, bro, that's all Edson right there. Edson keeps doing some really fantastic stuff. And
Thank
you. At this point, Edson, I have no clue where you're gonna start on this. Being an hour and 30 minutes in. And for you to find another, little thing, it's gonna be a minute, man. But you know what? I will say though, the slides do help, right? Because you can always go to a specific slide and kind of go from there, man.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, this is just like some of the knowledge that I've gained from, all of my projects, like down in the valley, like for 7 years.
Yeah,
that podcast, learning a lot from other YouTubers and some of their I guess their ideas, some of their suggestions. That's really helped a lot. And I felt like if I could bring in some of that knowledge over to Bayou City Soccer, that it would be a huge benefit for coverage of our local soccer teams.
Yeah, man. 100%. Again, we keep saying it, dude. I think I don't know if you met David. David is hilarious. He's my brother-in-law. And every time we get somebody, he's like, he mostly speaks Spanish, being from Argentina, but he'll say something like, "What is this, man? Not even Inter Miami pulls this kind of transfers for Bayou City Soccer, with everybody coming in." So it's fantastic to have you guys. But guys, man, thank you guys for listening. Don't forget, as mentioned, follow us on social media, check all the content out there, and whatever you do, don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange. And it's been great. We'll see you later, guys. Peace.
Ciao.
Peace. Don't make it awkward.